I just want to thank everyone for viewing the sale, and if you have any questions, please reach out to me or Jim. We think this set's awfully good, and here at RoseBird, on behalf of me, and Bob wasn't able to be here with us today to do this, but Bob thanks you guys an awful lot too. I mean, without the customers, we're not much of anything, and we appreciate the support that we've had in the short time we've been here. Like I said, if you have any questions, please reach out, get a hold of us, whether it be Facebook or my phone number will be on the sale or Bob's. We're willing to talk to anybody about any questions they may have. I want to thank Jim for coming out here today and looking through this set for us. It's been a learning experience for us, that's for sure, and we hope you guys like these guys. The one Adam has there on the stick right now is the 14-3. He's the only one we left intact in this, and I think boar pig or barrel, this one's got a lot of potential. I'm in love with this pig. He's probably my favorite one in the sale. That's a pedigree magic trick endgame skull and bones. Like I said, that's a daughter out of the Gert sow here and mother of the 12s. One that, again, we're building on hardcore here. I think this dude just is extreme pieces. He's got big legs. He's square. He's got a real clean head and neck. Still stays super sound and square from the back to top. One that I think you could drag this guy around the country and early and often and be really successful in what you do with him.
Yeah, this off-belt pig here, again, definitely dual purpose on the boar barrow front here, whichever way you want to go with it. And it's a lot of times hard to get extreme proportions and still have them have a balanced look. And this one does that. Got a very neat look out of his skull. Length of front and extension of front's good, but still dimension of skull and rim to his snout and width between his eyes very good. Jaw line's clean and a great big heavy set of bones and a clean set of joints to go with that. You combine that with the fact that he's square in his chest. He's green in his body, but yet boxy and barrel length of body as far as his proportions go. He combines that with a really good stout kind of a hind leg that he knows what to do with it and how to reach behind his tail head when he needs to, and squares up with really good kind of muscle shape, but not too much too early. He's a green one that can be fed pretty hard. And again, show this one early, show him right on late into the fall. He's one that should hold together because his structure's so good, his immaturity is skeleton. That is 14-3.
Oh, the one on the stick right there, that's the 14-1. That's a magic trick endgame skull and bones. That goes back on that Gert sow, be the mother of the 12 litter in our sale right now. I think this one's awfully neat. I know he's solid black. Take the color away and study that hog. I think he's extremely big-legged, got enough shape. We've seen them magic tricks there at our friends there at GNS's, and we like them things a whole lot. Knew we had to get one bred to them, and I'm glad we got one out of them.
Yeah, the all-black pig here, that 14-1, again, just disregard the color pattern, and we've watched so many pure black ones win majors and on the gilt side and the barrow side, and this was just good. You know, just disregard what color that is and just show a good one, and this is a good one. This is we're going to see several in this litter that we really like. This one is really green, immature, but green and stout in the same package, and again, that's the kind of the end game of what we're trying to look for is those hogs that have that immature, neat kind of a look, but still have enough dimension and have enough heaviness of skeleton to be a stout one in the end. And you know, whether you want to show them early to jackpot or go on right up to the end, and these hogs really could surface right at prime time. They're down in that October range when so many of those Southwest shows, Tulsa, Dallas, LSU, and probably if Ed Wright could go right on into possibly Louisville with pretty good shape size-wise where these guys are at. I really like the way this one's built, immature, green, stout in his bone work, very neat pig in that 14-1.
14-2, the one on the stick right now. That's one that is a magic trick endgame skull and bones. Again, out of that Gert sow, which would be the mom of our 12s. I'd be her gilt pig that we kept back. All black barrel that I think offers some really neat pieces. He's extremely square and big legs also. Again, that magic trick stuff, we saw a lot of them at Sproul's this year and loved them, and we're just happy ours turned out the way they did. Mom of these pigs is, again, keeper gilt that never really saw the show arena, but if anything bases off of what she looks like, you can just look in here to these guys, a very similar made.
You know, there's a really good set of males within this litter, but this one here is arguably the sharpest, neatest looking one of the ones in the litter. This hog has a really good look out of his front end. Still got some dimension of skull, but man, a really sharp jawline, a good looking one that when he goes ahead and gets trained as an older one there and gets that head cranked, he's going to be so impressive when he hits the ring. And again, he's got those same barrel proportions, boxiness on length of body, and a great big set of bones, stout feet that are good in his pasterns. Squareness of chest is very good, but again, everything's stout but it's very green. Again, not always an easy thing to do. A feeder's dream, I think. Just take that one and have a good time with that one at whatever point in its life you want to, because that one's going to look really good early and have a sharp look with a big set of bones and be a really good big hog in the end. That's 14-2.
We got the 12-1 barrel pig here. I think he's the green one in the group for sure. One that I think you could just feed this thing and get it out there once he gets real big. He's stout-legged, still super sound and square coming and going from you. That's a FAFO Skull and Bones Rockstar. Again, Mom made the Division IV champion down there in Georgia that the Bowden family there fed for us. Sal, the family, and just in general that have done a lot of good here at our farm and continue to make show pigs, daughters that generate later on for us.
This little the 12-1 off-belt Barra pig here is he'd be the pounds light one and the green one of the litter so far that we've looked at, and I think that's a good thing. They don't all need to look alike, and they all need to be the ones that feed exactly alike. This is one you could feed pretty hard because he is green and immature in his look. I like his green look out of his front end, the head carriage, stoutness of skull, and cleanness of jawline. He's boxy in his center, but very green in his pattern. And as that one goes ahead and grows into himself and masses up down his top and gets more boldness and muscle going away, he's very heavy structured, very good footed. Love his proportions and his boxiness and his barrel proportions he's got with his length of body combined with that stoutness of skull and the angles he's got in his structure. I think that one's a good one there that can be fed really hard and really pounds wise could probably go on later in the fall on that end of September on into October without any hesitation from a very good litter. That's 12-1.
The 12-3 would be the only gilt we're going to offer out of this sow. Like I said earlier, we think a whole lot of this sow family. We've been building around this sow. But again, going back, that's FAFO Skull and Bones Rockstar. And I think this gilt offers some neat pieces. She's longer bodied, maybe plants her feet a little squarer than some others here. Just good made, good pig. I like this one a lot. Like I said, the only gilt we're going to offer out of her probably this year.
This is kind of fits the middle of the pattern of that 12 litter that we were looking at here today on pounds, and really in type and kind too. This one's got a little more elevation and some extension up front, kind of like the greener Barra, and still got some stoutness of bone work and muscle and width we see in a couple of the male pigs in the litter that are the bigger, heavier pounded ones. This is just a kind of a feeder's dream. This one here is one that very correct in her skeleton, put together very, very good. Excellent as far as her head carriage and dimensions she has in her skull, but still a good jawline, has an awesome look coming at you. Squares up in her body really good, and green and immature, but still enough stoutness in center. And she leaves you with a lot of muscle shape behind, but not too much, and maintains that squareness within her skeleton. Very good pastern kind of hog with a good set of angles. Everything proportions very well in that 12-3 gilt.
Forward pig would be the FAFO Skull and Bones Rockstar. Mom of that pig would be the Division IV champion at Southeastern in Georgia. That sow came out of the Farnham family, the Rockstar sisters that he has there. Sow family has done a whole lot here at RoseBird for us. A barrel her boar pig I like a whole lot. One that I think got enough bone, got enough shape to be really neat when he gets a little bigger here. Also, look at him as a boar pig wise. That said, that sow family, and on top of it being a FAFO pig, it had a short life here with Will, and we're glad we got a few litters out of him.
This black-legged 12-4 Barra is, and actually a boar pig, is a very dual-purpose one that could go either way, and there's no double hammer price in RoseBird's sale. If you want to choose to keep this one as a boar, you're welcome to, and this one has the dimensions that you could do that. He's really a stout-skulled kind of a pig. It's really heavy structured, very proportionate, dimensional, boxy in his look, angles to his shoulder blades really good. His length of stride and reach out of his hip is very good, and he's a typical FAFO. There's a lot there. Those hogs are heavy structured. They're very dense, really good in their rib, good in their body. always a tremendous amount of muscle volume to work with, and they still know how to handle it, and they're able to wheel and go and take the way they need to, and backed by the pedigree, going back to that Rockstar sow here on the extreme bottom side of the pedigree. One you surely have to take a look at, whether it's a barrel or board prospect. That is 12-4.
12.5 would be the belted boar pig in here. It's another Fafo Skull and Bones Rockstar pig. One that I think is probably the stoutest one in that litter of pigs. A very deep litter for us. Again, going back on that sow family, they've done a whole lot for us here. Another one that I think, just basing off of what her last litters have been like, I think one that's just going to feed on. You can take this guy right to the end. I think he'll be an awesome big pig. Again, he's a boar pig. Offers a little bit bigger pieces in terms of leg and back shape. I think he's still square, easy going. Head shape is really good and stout. Again, that sow family is just one that we really love here.
The 12.5 wide belted boar pig, again, dual purpose, and I think probably even be better as a boar than would be as a bear because of the extreme proportions he's got. He's a lot. He's really big in his rib cage. He's got a lot of shoulder blade action, really bold and boxy through his center with a tremendous amount of body shape, and a great big rib cage going back into a great big muscular kind of a top and a big thick kind of a rump. A very heavy structured hog, is still very secure on his feet. He's got good toe shape and foot shape, and set to his pastern is very, very good. Again, he's one, if you're going to run him as a bear, feed him slow, low and slow is where he's going to be better off. And again, you got to feed all pigs the correct way. You got a green one, you got to feed him hard and roll with him. If you got a stout one, you got to feed him slow and lower on protein. And again, managed right, this one here could do a lot on down the road. That's 12-5.
13-1 be a gilt pig, be a Fafo checkmate. Again, a sow that came from Sproul's, mom of the Division IV champion, the black-headed barrel at Ohio State Fair with Dark Cross. Sow that's done really well here. I think this gilt pig offers some really neat pieces. She's still stout. She's got some long legs, big long body on her. Square coming and going from you. Good pig in general, whether you want to breed her or take her into the show arena. I think this one's kind of dual thread in that term. If you're a breeder, you should probably look in on this one. Don't offer too many out of this sow. We are offering a few this summer and this winter. One that I just think potentially could be a generator for future to come.
Has painted up gilt. Again, she's a lot. She's really stout. That one is very, very wide chested and square pinned and square bodied and has a lot of dimension. And again, a very heavy structured kind of a gilt. Again, being on the extreme edge where she's at, but yet look at her angles. And everything fits really well as far as her structure goes. She's got great angle out of her shoulder down into her front foot. She's really got some reach and give to her hock behind. And it's not easy to put that much product in one and that much internal dimension and density and keep them correct, and she can still move. Now you need to slow her up and all from that aspect. And Toby mentioned that black-headed bear, and he was one of the real impressive bears that wins that division at Ohio last year, and she has a lot of those same properties that that particular bear had, of that extra stoutness and boldness and three-dimensional kind of look and a real boxy kind of a package. That painted gilt is 13-1.
13-2 would be the boar pig in this. We left one intact. There's another one I believe coming in here later that's intact out of that, but that's a Fafo checkmate. That was, again, the sow purchase from our friends there at GNS Swine. Mom would be made the 4th overall Dark Cross at Ohio State Fair that the Matthews family showed. One that I think is square, big-legged, long-bodied. Maybe slow this one down again. These things, the sow family knowing what they do, these things like to grow and grow fast. One needs slowed down, taken off a self-feeder, and be able to roll a little bit later on here.
Yeah, this Pig 2 Barra pig here has got a shot more frame size than the littermate sister, a little more elevation and extension. Still got a stout skull, very wide chested, heavy structured, really good as far as being a great big forearm kind of a hog that's got, again, a big pliable center, is able to expand its center and consume some feed and do something with it. Muscular top dog, a lot of muscle volume behind. It's going to take some management on holding everything together in this one because he's a lot, and again, slow that protein down and slow the growth thing down and take it over a period of time. Let everything kind of come back together in a little more harmony and balance. Interesting pig there in that off-belt pig 13-2.
The gilt on the stick there would be the 13-4. That'd be a Fafo checkmate. That's a sow that we had bought from Sproul's there. Mom would be the Division 4 or fourth overall dart cross at Ohio State Fair last year that the Matthews family showed. Again, if you saw that barrel when he was little, this thing is identical to that one. I know she's a little round and big bodied. One that I think, and just knowing that sow family, that when they get older, these things just absolutely mature up, look like absolute show pigs. One I think you could drag out early and often. If you get her off the self feeder, that's not helping her situation right now either.
Yeah, it's 13-4 painted up gilt. Now you got to realize, these are not being fit in a single pen on a limited amount of feed, a couple 3 pounds of feed. They're on a feeder. I mean, she looks like she swallowed a softball here today. I mean, she's full. And there's nothing wrong with that. They got to be expandable. They got to be able to convert feed, and you can sure tell she's got an appetite to do that. You'd call her on the moderate side, middle of the road on frame size, and you get that one off of that kind of feed, and go ahead and get that one on the correct amount. Again, as Toby said, you can run that one early in a jackpot show because she's stout. I mean, there's a lot of hog there, but she's very correct. She's all of her feet head the right direction. She's got great angles to her skeleton. She's boxy in her build, stout in her skull. If you're going to run her early, you expect to be in a lighter middleweight kind of a class, but if you want to manipulate that weight range and over a period of time, that one could be an awesome one late on in the fall as a great big stout breeding gilt that's going to look very impressive in the end there also. A good painted up gilt there in that 13-4.
13.5 there on the stick would be a FAFO checkmate. Again, the sow that came out of the Sproul's firm and one that's done a lot of good for us here. She would have made the fourth overall dart cross at Ohio State Fair last year. One that Sproul's has done a lot with there at his farm. I like this guy a lot. I think this one is, and maybe the square, real clean fronted, good made one out of the group. And then, again, those FAFOs, just a short life that FAFO had for them guys. We were able to get in on that semen, and glad we got a few of these bred. I think this one might be the better FAFO out of the checkmate sow. I think this one's a really good made. Again, if you would have seen that fourth overall as a baby pig, is very similar. This one's cleaner necked. I think this one needs off a self feeder and longevity in life. This thing could just roll later on and maybe early and often if you get them off that and get them going.
This is a real intriguing pig. Again, got a stout skull, but really got a neat immature look out of that skull yet, and really bold in his rib cage and blade, and very boxy and square in his center, and he's got a tremendous amount of muscle volume behind, but I believe integrity of skeleton and where he sets himself on squareness behind is good. The stoutness of pasterns, the way his bones match everything that you see up high. And again, I would totally agree. This one just needs to be fed slower and go later. This one could be a beast in the end and still look awfully good along the way because you're not going to melt this one away. There's a lot of hog here, but still in a very correct type of pattern, kind of boxy middle of the road, moderate on frame size, but again, in a later term there, later on in the fall, could roll right on into a heavier weight and be very, very three-dimensional. That's 13-5.
13.6 would be the barrel pig out of that. We cut him. It'd be a FAFO checkmate, again, a sow that came from Sproul's, a sow family that's done extremely well at Sproul's, and when he offered that, we knew we had to get on him. Mother would be the Division 4, or fourth overall dart cross champion at Ohio State Fair for the Matthews family, the black-headed barrel. I think if there's one in here that is almost identical to what that black-headed barrel was when he was little, would be this guy right here, and I think this one, you get him off that self-feeder, just knowing the sows and how those things grow, when they get 150 pounds is when them things come on to absolutely look like machines, and I think this guy offers enough that just being extreme pieced, big-legged, I think his head and neck will come into him later on in life, and one that I think just could generate and be an awesome show barrel later on in life for you.
Yes, narrow belted barra again is one that, again, like any pig, whether they're green or they're stout, needs to be fed at the right pace. And I think you get this one at the right pace, he's going to really impress you with the kind of dimension he has. He's very proportionate in his look. He's got a stout skull, but going to have a very clean jawline. Again, as you slow him down, that's even going to get better yet. Heavy bone kind of a pig that's got really good kind of stiff pasterns, and mobility is very good. He's the right length of body. Everything ties good in the amount of muscle shape he's got down his top, tying out of his rib cage with a lot of boldness right on back into a square kind of a rump. And as you watch him go directly away, he squares up good in his hock and is able to hold everything together. And again, those things are just going to accentuate themselves as you get him at the right pace, the right distance over a period of time where he needs to be for his maturity.
The one on the stick right there is a 13-8. That's a Faithful checkmate. Again, a sow that came from the Sproul's firm and one that made the 4th overall dark cross at Ohio State Fair that the Bowden family fed for the Matthews. I think this guy's awfully good in terms of just being stout and bold. I don't know if he'd necessarily be the best board pig in the world, but I think one that you'd slow him down also, get him cut. I think this one could drag out a little further in life and be just an absolute stouty. If that's the kind you like to feed, I think this guy fits a lot of boxes there. He's big-legged, he's still square. One that I think is on Sal family and everything else going with him, knowing how them things grow, I think just his better days are way ahead of him.
And once again, depending upon how you like to feed them, you feed them, feed green ones and feed them harder, or feed those stout ones and feed them a lower protein and in a slower rate. This is one that needs to be fed lower and slower, and truthfully, doing that over a period of time is going to be better in the end than probably what you'd imagine, because this one here has got a lot. You're not going to melt it away from him. You're not going to get rid of his width or his stoutness or his muscle shape. And because of that particular aspect about this hog, again, end point there, this one's going to stay very three-dimensional. He's going to balance up better because you're going to take a little bit of that bulk out of his front end and get him looking just a little neater yet over a period of time. Very nice pig there in that 13-8.
There's a wicked red alert, again, a sow family that comes from Will and done a whole lot of good there. This girl got sick on us about a week ago. She's 100%. She just hasn't necessarily bounced back. But when she was correct, this girl was probably the squarest. And study this one's hind leg and her front shoulder. I think this one offers some really neat pieces. Get this girl back on feed and get her rolling real hard. We guarantee her 100%. But I think one that might be the sleeper in the sale in terms of what she could grow up and do. I said, I know what she looked like before she got sick, and she's 100% again, but one that I think just, again, you could drag this one on and do really well later on in the future, or get her out early and often.
Yeah, she kind of fits between the three of the litter mates here. She's an elevated green, immature looking. She's a heavy bone stout one like the other one. She fits a really good kind of a pattern of one that is very correct, neat looking, stout, heavy bone, and big enough in her framework to feed her pretty hard, and very correct in her skeleton to feed her pretty hard. Again, this one could roll into an early jackpot hog that could be a really neat one early, and roll right on into the heavyweight range where your end point is there at the end of the summer, early fall, and be right where you need to be. This is a very good female, again, backed by a really good kind of a sow power on that bottom side of the pedigree if you want to roll that one into the sow herd and put that one back in production. That's 11-1.
The one there on the stick would be 11-2. She'd be a wicked red alert. That'd be a sow purchase from Will and Hildy that show pigs out there. When the summer sale, we bought her. This is probably my favorite wicked pig in the litter. I think this one is an absolute creature. Whether you want to show this thing or breed her, I think there's a pile of potential on both sides of it. This thing's got big legs. She's square. She's long-bodied. She's extremely good head and necked. Like I said, we're going to keep one out of this litter. A lot of people question me probably why I'm not keeping this one. Again, favorite wicked pig. Love this animal to death.
Yeah, this 11-2 is off-belt gilt here. That's one of my favorites in the offering. That's my kind for a little pig. Just good built, tall-fronted, good-headed, stout skull, good jawline. She's taller shoulder, she is her hip, levels out really good, reaches, very proportionate kind of bone with a clean, immature kind of joints, stout, strong kind of feet with good pasterns. She's one that you can feed on pretty hard and roll right along with because she's got real a green, immature, correct kind of a skeleton. That one just gets more fun every day throughout her show career. That one's going to be enjoyable. Just give her a good pen and keep her healthy and take care of that one. 11-2.
11-4 that's on the stick there. That's the wicked red alert. A sow family that came from Will and a sow family that's going to live on here for a little bit longer. One that we like to use here. This one, I think this one's awfully square and big-legged. I know she may be calico, and if that's not your type, that's fine. But I think good hogs are good hogs, and this one I think is awfully good in terms of squareness and size, bone, and shape. I like this girl a whole lot.
Yeah, I like this spotted up calico gilt here. She was one of my favorites when I first initially saw the set, and she's the pounds heavier one in this particular litter. And whether you want to call her calico, candy corn is what Will Hilty calls them, a rodeo clown, whatever, immaterial. She's just good, and that's what the important thing is. She's a solid hog with three-dimensional. She's got elevation up front. She's attractive up front, has a feminine look, but still enough stoutness, jaw, and skull. She's square in her body. She's correct in her bone. She's good in her pasture. She's got muscle shape, not too much. Feeder's dream, just go and take her and roll with her the way you need to. And that red alert mother, her and her litter mate there at Will's, goes back through that red 7 deal, makes a great sow pedigree if you're wanting to take one lay back in to put in your own sow herd to make your show pigs better this coming year. That's 11-4.
11.5 is again a wicked, a red alert. It'd be a sow purchase from Will, one that's done a lot of good here, and it looks like she's going to keep on going to what she's doing. I like this pig a lot. Maybe not the biggest legged one in the group, but one that I think is absolutely sound and just good made in the terms of whether you want to take this thing to the long run or if you want to take her and feed her real quick. I think you could do both with this animal. Again, 11.5.
You know, this narrow-bellied one is one just doesn't get you in trouble. She's balanced, and balance still wins hog shows, and she's good up through her front end. I would call her the boxy one out of the pair in this particular pen at the time, and is a little boxier, more barrel length bodied for show pig production, and really has that kind of look. She's got a neat, sharp kind of a front end, proportionate kind of bone. Again, not huge bone, but enough to hold everything together there, and still very sound. Again, as Toby said, you know, feed that one kind of whatever pace you want to, because she's not messed up and she's not too extreme in any area. Those are fun to feed on, and again, whether your window's early or late or long, she's one that can kind of give you those options of doing about anything you need to. 11-5.
Alert again, a sow family that comes from Will and has done a lot of good there at the Hildy firm, and when he offered one, we knew we needed to get her bought. Maybe the greener one in the group, but I think another one that just offers a lot of really neat pieces later on in life. Get this thing big. I don't think you have to hold this one back or feed her special. I think you can just kind of coast this girl right along to whether your end point would be a September deal or even later. You know, again, if that off coloring doesn't bother you, I think look in here. This is a good hog. I believe the Ohio State Fair champion last year, Jim, wasn't that a calico pig? Yep. Calicos still win, and good hogs are good hogs, and I don't think you should look past this one very far. I think this one offers some really neat pieces.
Yeah, this little lighter calico here is the pounds light one in the class, or in the litter. It's one that again, you don't have to run that one just late. This is one because of jackpot circuits. I mean, you can show 50 pounders on up, and she's going to be visual enough to do that because she's proportionate, she's boxy, she's balanced, she's very heavy structured, she's got a stout kind of a skull, and she's correcting her skeleton to where you don't have to worry about feeding that one very slow and go right along. And then again at end point time, which it is later on in the fall. She's got the type of skeleton to hold everything together in correctness and still be a very good big one. That's 11-7. I was really excited when Toby reached out there a couple weeks ago and wanted me to view and preview the RoseBird set. This is an operation that's only been in existence 3 years, and they've got 40 sows, and I mean killer sows, and they have spent a world of effort into trying to find the right females in sow families, and they've done it through the Farnham herd and the Hilty herd and GNS herd, and we all know what those have gotten accomplished for breeders across the country. A very elite set, and again, whether you want to feed them low and slow, fast and go, however you want, whatever your end point is, there is something in this group that female and barrel wise that are, and even boars that have options to get out there and get the job done. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to work with Toby and Bob and the RoseBird crew here on a very, very nice set of pigs, and look forward to the future.